ございます。ありがとうございます。Okay, now we are going to talk about the writing part. In the HSC writing, there are, when I'm talking about writing, I'm talking about questions 16, 17, and 18 and 19. Question 18 and 19 are highlighted because they have the biggest marks of 10. And you only have to choose from the two. You only have to do question 18 or question 19. And in this section, you're going to read the question and answer in Japanese. Okay. Now, I'd like to talk about the marking criteria. This is the document that that people who give you the mark are going to use. When we look at question 16, 17, and 19, and question 16, 17, 18, and 19, the marking criteria are very, very similar. Appropriate audience, purpose, and context, relevant to audience, purpose, and context, organize ideas and information coherently, and knowledge of language, vocabulary, and language structures. So for 3 of those questions, what you're targeting to do is very similar. So the first point is text type. What kind of text type you're using, whether it's an email, a newspaper article, or message, or diary entry. Okay, so be careful with the text type. And when we talk about text type, also it's about the tense and whether it's polite form or plain form. Second point, be consistent with your own idea. Okay, and use paragraph effectively, use conjunctions. And because of the text type, introduction, conclusion are very important. Whether you're going to include greeting, or if it's diary, you're going to put the date and weather. And also, if you're going to give some reason, then you're going to use particular conjunctions or grammar structure. Third point is grammar and vocabulary. A control means mistake counts. It's about how correctly you are using, you are able to manipulate the Japanese sentence. Range of means variety of vocabulary and grammar structure. So you have to use many different types of grammar structure and vocabulary. If you can demonstrate that, and then you're going to get good mark, a better mark. And when we talk about a range of vocabulary, I've used one grammar structure in question 17, so I don't have to use one for question 18. No, it's not. The people who are marking question 16 and 17 and 18 and 19 are different. So if you're going to use particular grammar form for question 16, that means you can still use in 18 and 19 because different people are marking. Okay, let's look at each questions. Question 16, write a message. So message to a new Japanese exchange student. This is the audience about describing the club activity you do at your school. So text type is a message. Are you going to use a polite form because it's a new Japanese exchange student? It's not a very close friend. Introduction, conclusion, and greeting because it's a message. And if you can use reasoning or conjunctions, yes, use appropriate conjunctions and grammar structure. And you have to talk about club activities that you have to do at school. And grammar and vocabulary, of course. Okay, let's look at the answer. I'm going to give you the sample answer later. So please don't try very hard to read now. You can have time to read later. You can have the copy, the 10 out of 10 question, answer. Okay, so let's look at it. A greeting, Tomo-kun konnichiwa, because it's a message. And you have to mention that you're talking about the club, 学校のダンスクラブに入りました。And some details. And you're going to use vocabulary and some grammar structure that's suitable for that. Okay, and conjunctions. I have collected some easy conjunctions. There are many, so I didn't list everything. But these are the very basic conjunctions you can use in beginner's course. So please screen cap or take photo and be familiarize yourself with them. Use of conjunctions will also benefit your writing part, the speaking part as well. Next page, question 17. You and your friends are planning a holiday after your examinations. Write an email to your close friend explaining why, a place you visit your family every year is a good choice. Okay, by the way, this is 2022 HSC paper. Okay, number 1, text type, it's email. So don't forget the introduction, your friend's name and san-e or kun-e. And because it's a close friend, you are using plain form, not polite form is better, I think. And use paragraph effectively. Use conjunctions, dakara, sore ni, because you have to explain why. So reasoning is important. And some conjunctions to explain the reason. And moreover, give another reason if you want to. And be consistent with your own idea. Okay? So you can say, we go to apple picking every holiday, every year. And then you are not going to say going to Japan is a better choice. You are not going to do that. Okay, so be consistent with your own idea. Number 3, the grammar structure. Because you are using the reasoning, so you can use naze nara, dakara da, karada. Okay, so think about what kind of grammar structure you can use is a key point to get a good mark. And of course, you can compare the place you visit with your family every year and another place. And if you're going to do that, use no hoga. If you can include both of them, then you win. Okay, this is the sample answer that I wrote, 6 out of 6, I'm hoping. I deliberately tried writing it using a polite form to show that you can get away with using the plain form, but I really strongly suggest you to use the plain form when it says close friend. Okay. Of course, it starts from the greeting. Ikimashou, you're suggesting. And the place, if you go with your friend, with your family every year, Kokusahaba, and some reasons. I know the place very well, and there are less people than Gold Coast are the 2 reasons. Okay, sorry, one more. the camping is hotel cheaper than hotel is another reason. Okay, and I'm using color and some of the grammar structures and vocabulary. 観光地, the sightseeing spot. Okay. Now, question 18 and 19, you only have to choose one out of the two. So read the questions carefully before you pick one. One year, I forgot when it was, but for one of the questions you had to use past tense, and the other one you could use you could write in present form, present tense. See, if you're in that situation, think which one is easier for you to write. So read the question and think about what kind of grammar structure you have to use, what kind of text form you are going to have to use, and which one are you strong at writing Japanese. Okay, I didn't put the detail, I didn't put the analysis of the question this time. I think you can do it by yourself. What kind of text type you are going to use, and what kind of grammar structures can you use. Okay. Okay, and these are the answers that I wrote. And I am going to share this with you. So please don't worry about reading it very quickly now. I'm going to give it to you after this. Okay, this is question 19, the same. I have this exactly this sample answer, and I'm going to share it with you. Okay. Miyako-san, これちょっとシェアしてもらってもいいですか？すみません。Okay, how many different essay questions do we get to pick from in the HSC? How many different essay writing questions do we get to pick from the HSC? So you have question 16, question 17, you have to do them both, and you have to do one from question 18 or 19. So you can pick either question 18 or 19. So you're going to have to do 3 writings in total. Question 16, 17, and 18 or 19. This is it. Question 16, 17, and 18 or 19. Okay, now I'm going to talk about the speaking. みよこさん、ありがとうございます。The sample answer is shared on the chat box, so please download and have a read later, not now, because I'm going to talk about the speaking. Okay, the speaking HSC is very different from other parts of the HSC, listening, reading, and writing, because speaking HSC is earlier than the other part, main part of the HSC. You're going to have to do the speaking in about a month's time. And unlike the other part of the questions, speaking questions are different each person. So each people get asked different questions. Okay. So the question you get is not the same as the question your friend, classmate gets. Okay, so that's the biggest difference. But having said that, in the speaking exam, every year people get asked very similar questions, starting from things like how old are you, when's your birthday, what's your hobby, what's your favorite subject, and into things like what kind of food do you like, have you been to Japan, and future questions, what do you want to do as a job, what kind of university do you want to do. So in a way, you can prepare for the speaking HSC, the oral HSC. And in fact, every year, people who prepared thoroughly achieve the top grades in the oral HSC. So preparation is very, very important, and I'm assuming most of you have completed the preparation. It's towards the end of the very last school holiday for year 12 now. Okay, and I'm going to talk about, before I'm going to talk about how you're going to prepare and how you're going to improve your preparation, I'm going to talk about what is expected. So again, this is marking criteria, and this is the document that people who give you the mark are going to use, and I've only cut out the top criteria because I think everyone can aim for the top criteria, even from now. Okay, the first point is converse effectively. So provide the topic that's interesting for the listener to listen to. The bad example is like when your mom asks you, what do you want for dinner? And you go, oh, whatever. Right? You're not engaging effectively. You're not conversing effectively in the conversation. Right? So provide some topics that's interesting for the listener to listen to. Answer the question, of course, and give more detail. And if you can, include your opinion and comment. What you're thinking about, what you're feeling about the topic is the good point to get a better mark. And of course, you have to stick to the relevant information. Second part is intonation and pronunciation. Not many people have problem with these, as long as you can read and write hiragana. Okay. There are some people who write in alphabet on top of hiragana and kanji, how you read. And then if you write in alphabet, those people's intonation might be a little bit strange, like they start saying things like konnichiwa, arigato. That's not the correct pronunciation. So if you can read hiragana, that's okay. But of course, every year, from my observation, people who like watching anime in Japanese do very well in speaking exam. Okay, the third point is variety of vocabulary and language structure. So use many different kinds of grammar structure. And if you know a sophisticated way of saying one thing, tend to get a better mark. So that's variety of vocabulary and language structure. Okay, so the preparation. I think most of you have done that part. Prepare 3-sentence answer each question. You might have received the list of questions from your teacher and asked to prepare your answer. So when the question is, how old are you? It's not only 17 歳です is your answer. We want more information and your comments or opinion. I'm turning 18. I want to do a big party, but I have HSC, so I can't do it now. But next year, I will definitely have a big party. Okay? So this is what you're going to do in Japanese. Okay, make sure you create a sentence for each grammar point. The marking criteria is asking you to use variety of grammar points. So So cover all the grammar points in your preparation, and I'm going to show you the list of grammar points after this slide. And then create memo. So you don't want to carry the big pile of notebook everywhere to go to the doctor appointment or to meet your friends. So create a little memo like a palm card when you do the presentation and write down important things so you can carry them everywhere. This is the list of syllabus grammar content. So try and use as many of them as possible. So the good thing to do is go through your preparation and tally how many you have used for each grammar point. If you've missed one or two, then quickly make a sample sentence and squeeze them in to your preparation. Okay, so the palm card, like you do the presentation, you're going to prepare, I suggest you to prepare a palm card. You can just simply fold the A4 paper into pieces and write down and put it in your pocket. Okay, so things to write down on the palm card, grammar points you tend to forget or often make mistakes, so you can remember, of course, and you can take it out on the way to the school in the bus or train. Complicated grammar points, ageru, kureru, morau. Every teacher in New South Wales knows that ageru, kureru, morau is one of the most complicated grammar structure in beginners Japanese. So in other words, if you can use them correctly, you've demonstrated the ability to use one of the most complicated grammar structure in the course. So familiarize yourself, revise that part. And set expressions like kaze o hiku, mega sameru. Kaze o hiku, it's not to become sick is not kaze ni narimasu. There is a set expression. Kaze o hiku, kaze o hikimasu. Mega sameru is a fancier way of saying I wake up. Ninki ga aru is popular. There is set expressions. If you forget, write them down. And compound verbs, sometimes you can put two verbs together and make up form one verb. Tabe hajimeru, easy, means to start eating. Motte iku, mochimasu means to have, carry, and iku is go, carry and go, which means to bring. A little bit more complicated than the normal simple verbs. So if you can use them, that's good. You're demonstrating the ability. Big words, occupation and university subjects, they are going to ask your future plan. And the problem with these vocabulary is because there are so many and they are not in your textbook. So you are going to be asked what you didn't learn from the textbook. So prepare those vocabularies, occupation, university subjects, look up in the Google and bring it to your teacher and clarify if that particular word is really, really used. Okay, and relative clause, this is another complicated grammar structure. It's on the page 147 of your textbook. So if you have included the relative clause in your preparation, you have demonstrated that to use one of the most complicated grammar structure in the beginner's course. One thing I suggest you to do with regard to the relative clause is this. Prepare one sentence. Pizza, pasta, nado Italia ryori ga suki desu ga. That means I like Italian food such as pizza and pasta, but I think the food my mom cooks me is the most delicious. Okay, say I have prepared this sentence. I can remember and wait for any question related to food. Like, what kind of food do you like? Yes, I like Italian food, but I think my mom's cooking is the best. What do you eat for lunch? I usually make sandwich by myself, but I think the food my mom cooks me is the most delicious. Or do you like Japanese food? Yes, of course, I like sushi and ramen, but I think the food my mom makes me is the most delicious. Right? If you can squeeze that in, you have demonstrated the ability to use one of the most complicated grammar structure in the course. And don't leave it till the last minute. You only have 1 month to go, so it's coming to the last minute already. So this is the last 1 month that you're going to keep revising and practicing for the speaking exam. Now I'm going to look at some H questions and give you some advice. お誕生日いつですか? Very typical opening question. If you still don't know how to say your birthday, just remember one day from the E. They're not going to ask, when's your birthday? When's your mom's birthday? When's your dad's birthday? When's your brother's birthday? It's not going to be like that. Just remember one date and use it. Even when you get, when's your best friend's birthday? You can use your own birthday. Okay, they're not going to call your parents and check. Okay, and of course, give extra information about your birthday and use senior structure. Next, どんな町に住んでいますか? What kind of town do you live in? Okay, try to give reason. Giving reason also gives depth in your response. Okay, so it's a very good strategy. 趣味は何ですか? When you ask your hobby, it's another set expression. ギターを弾くことです。本を読むことです。Some people tend to say ギターを弾きます。本を読みます。But it's not really the correct way of answering. I still do understand, but it's better to say ギターを弾くことです。本を読むことです。Or you can say, instead of saying 本を読むことです, you can say 趣味は読書です to show off that you know a sophisticated word for the act of reading a book, 読書。趣味は読書です。Okay. あなたの家の近くに何がありますか? What's around your house? Rather than listing things that's around your house or subject you're studying, 英語と日本語と数学と科学と if you use ya, and nado, you save time and you are using 2 grammar structures. What do you study? I study English, ya, 数学や日本語などを勉強しています。Okay? Okay. 家に帰って何をしますか? The examiner has to ask you many different types of questions, so each students are given plenty of opportunity to demonstrate the knowledge of Japanese in many different contexts. Okay? So you will be asked questions like, what time do you wake up? Or what do you do in the morning? Answer to these 2 questions tend to be very similar. What you do in the morning? I wake up at 7 o'clock and then brush my teeth and get changed, have breakfast and go to school. What do you do in the morning? The same. Okay? And from my experience teaching Japanese, I've realized there are so many add-on vocabularies like time-related expressions like tari, kara, made, gurai ni. There are so many. So use these vocabulary to decorate your answer. Please take a screen cap or take photo. Have this table ready and try answer a question like what time do you wake up? Try to use as many of them as possible, then it's going to be a really, really good answer. So decorate your answer using these time-related expressions. Okay, the left column is Japanese, the center column is the English meaning, and the right one is example sentence. Okay. Okay. 家の近所でどんなことができますか? Try and include your opinion. 家の近所に公園があるから giving reason. 犬の散歩やエクササイズができます。can do. もっとお店やレストランがある賑やかな街に住みたいです。Okay, using たいです to express that you want to live in, to express your opinion. Okay, どうして日本語を勉強していますか? Because this is a Japanese exam, there will be many questions. You will be asked some questions about Japanese. Why are you studying Japanese? Have you been to Japan? Do you like Japanese food? What made you study Japanese? These kind of things. Okay. 私は日本のアニメに興味があるから日本語を勉強しています。Use senior structure. に興味があります。Typically, I am interested in Japanese culture or I am interested in anime に興味があります。And one more thing to be careful with is the very important part of Japanese sentence comes at the very end. Sometimes when the examiner is still talking, you start thinking about what you're going to answer and then misses out on the very, very important part, which is the last of the question, ending of the question. Okay, so make sure you listen to the question until the very end, because the very end contains if it's negative or positive or past tense or present tense, those kind of information. And of course, you can use the ending of the sentence to answer the question. If the question is te imasu ka, and then the answer is take off ka and say te imasu. Right? HSC の後何をするつもりですか? They will ask future questions about your future because many of you have just completed the topic of the future at the very end of the course. So prepare to answer these questions. Okay. HSC の後何をするつもりですか? What are you planning to do after HSC? 大学に入って医者になりたいです。I want to become a doctor. 母も医者はいい仕事だと言います。Okay. Use たいですor つもりです。たいです。want to. つもりです。I'm planning to. And if you can use difficult grammar, くれます、あげます、くれます、もらいます。They are very difficult. 母も医者はいい仕事だと言います。The mom is also saying doctor is a good job, a good work, good career. But you can even use くれます and say 母も医者はいい仕事だと言ってくれます。Sounds more like she is encouraging you to become a doctor. And you have included another most complicated grammar structure in Japanese, beginner's Japanese. Also, including other people's opinion is a very high technique. Your teacher told you to study harder, or your mom is telling you that the doctor is a good job, good work, good career. Or my hobby is cooking. I made a pizza last week and my mom told me it was delicious. 美味しいと言ってくれました。Okay? HSC の後何をするつもりですか？日本に興味があるから giving reason。将来日本で仕事をしたいです。I want to work in Japan in the future. 3年くらい don't forget to decorate your sentence. And small と思います。と思います。By adding と思います、it automatically becomes your comment, opinion. 今年勉強しすぎた。If you can use this vocabulary, しすぎた。I did too much. I studied too much. I think. So before I start studying at university, before I start university, I might take a gap year. I might かもしれません。I maybe take a gap year. Okay. Okay. So, am I too quick? Did I go too quick?
まだもうちょっと時間あります。
もうちょっと時間ありますね。どうしようかな。はい。Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Oh, yes, of course you can.
いいですか？お願
Okay.
いします。Is the student's accent count in the HSC speaking exam? Because I might have some Chinese student or a Vietnamese student, their accent could be a little bit strong since Japanese is actually not their second language, it's their third language.
Well, I have not marked the speaking HSC, but I believe Australia is not that such a racist country. I don't think those accents would negatively influence students' mark, as long as she tries to speak clearly. If it's not very clear and cannot understand, then of course it's going to make it difficult for the marker to hear the student, what the student is trying to say. But I do not think so. But
And also, they have to say it a little bit louder, right? So they have to be recorded into the recording, either iPad or recording phone, because some of my students could be very shy, and then this will be their first HSC exam, so very, very stressful. They could be speaking very softly. What's your advice?
Yes, I really agree with you. Some people are very shy, but unfortunately, if the marker cannot hear your student because your student is talking very softly, she cannot mark. So my suggestion is to this is for every student, record yourself for 5 minutes and listen to your own recording and see if you can improve, where you can improve, or what kind of mistakes you have made. You have about 1 month to do. If you do it once a week, you can do the practice 4 times, and then you know if you are speaking too softly or if you are talking too quietly. So you might have to talk a little bit louder or not. And also talking very confidently also gives an impression that you are confident, and that makes, I think, that can also influence the mark as well. If you are talking confidently, that sounds like your Japanese is good. It gives this kind of impression. So I really recommend you to, only for 5 minutes, you can act confident and talk a bit loud. And yes, it's
Yeah.
I think it's going to it can impact your mark.
Thank you for your answer and advice.
Any questions or any slides that you want to see again? If you have missed any slide or if you have any questions, we are happy to go back to the slide and explain in detail. If you have any questions, you can either type in the chat box.
Taka Sensei, I have a question.
Hi.
I have a student that is actually listening at the moment, but, and as you said, you need to hear the whole thing because the order of an English sentence and the order of a verb of a Japanese sentence is wrong. And if the student has remembered it all, but it's in the wrong tense, how much would that be marked down? Do you know about that? So for example, if they say how old you are, because the student was, his birthday's in, I don't know, May or March or whatever, and the exam is in August, he put that in past tense, but I said to him, look, that's every year. So therefore this student, yeah, has a little bit of trouble with tense. I don't know why. How can I get him out of that? Do you have any suggestions?
Yes, marking the oral HSC markers are not going to count how many errors you made,
Right.
or how many grammar structures you've used. They don't get, students do not get marked on this basis. It's marked based on overall impression. So if the mistake is repetitive, then the marker will assume, our marker thinks, oh, this student had quite a number of mistakes, considerable amount of mistakes. So the control of the language was not at the top level.
Right. There's one more question. Thank you. The student prepares extremely well, but when you go and look for particular verbs and things, there's so many options you can do. And that's why I've said, like, when I hear him verbally, it sounds okay, but slightly strange. And it's then very hard for me to then mark until I see it written down, because, for example, instead of saying I received something, he says like te ni heiru. So they're only used in certain circumstances. So I'm finding this student, yeah, that is doing quite well, but we need to tweak that for him to get like a top mark.
Again, the mark is given in overall impression. So if a student has managed to use these expressions that's out of the textbook, demonstrating that the student has been extending their skills,
Right.
that will definitely impact positively.
Right. Okay.
And also, if any of you have realized you have made a mistake during the exam, I suggest you to go back and correct yourself. Like, what did you eat for breakfast? And I said, パンを食べます。そして、no, I should have used past tense because the question was, what did you eat for breakfast this morning? Oh, I should use past tense. パンを食べました。And then continue. But if the correct answer doesn't come on top of your head right now, don't panic. Just forget about it and move on to the next question, because you only have 5 minutes to demonstrate your skill. You have not time, not even a second, to panic and ruin your exam. So forget about it. Unless the mistake is not repetitive, it's not going to impact. It's better to move on and demonstrate another grammar structure or another vocabulary. So just move on. That's my advice. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Sensei.
Anyone If you have any questions, please do ask. Please clarify now. There is no other time like this. We have a number of teachers attending this session as well. Those teachers, if you have any comments, if I have said something wrong, if I have said something that you do not agree, please share with every student. I really appreciate it.
All right, just about pronunciation, the question of that was asked. From my experience, the last that I've been doing seniors, according to my head teacher, there was more of a focus before, more generally on pronunciation errors. However, that's not the case at the moment. So just clarifying that question that was asked before. That's from my head teacher at my language department in Southern Cross, where there's 6 language teachers. The head teacher has experience of 25 years of stage 6, although Spanish. So that the pronunciation topic has come up before, and it's not quite as focused on generally as before. So,
okay, that's good. Mm-hmm. Yes, and yes, my suggestion again. If you are still writing in alphabet on top of hiragana and kanji, try and read hiragana, and that should be okay. And I have also pasted the sample answer to the chat box. Please download if you're interested. If anyone wants to go back to see any of the slides that we showed today, we presented, please let us know in the chat box. We can go back and talk in detail.
Oh, there was just one more question. You were talking about memos and things. I mean, in the HSC oral, you're not allowed to use those, are you?
No. You cannot.
That's just for general. That's just for general. Any time that you.
Oh yes. You only have 1 month to go. So rather than carrying a big pile of paper, if it's a little memo, you can put that in your pocket. Where if you're going to the doctor or if you're going to the school or on the bus, you can take the little memo out of your pocket and practice your Japanese.
All right. Okay. Thank you for clarifying that.
Yes, on the exam day, you are not allowed to bring anything, just the sheet of paper that you get given at the office with your name and student number, and that's all. You can take your bag into the exam room, but the bag has to be left at the door. And also, I suggest you to turn off your mobile phone, just in case it doesn't ring in the 5 minutes. Is it more important to have a question? Is it more important to ensure correctness or to demonstrate range of grammar points? Again, your mark will be given based on overall impression. So if your grammatical errors are repetitive, but still you have demonstrated the extensive knowledge of Japanese grammar, then it kind of balances out. So my understanding is for the 3 parts of the, I'm going to show you again. Oops. Sorry. Okay, I think the error fits in the 3rd point, demonstrates an excellent control of variety of vocabulary, excellent control, and also variety of vocabulary and language structure. I think that kind of balances out in terms of if you have demonstrated a good amount of language structure used correctly, I can give you like 20 out of 20, but some errors, so it might go down a bit.
So as you can see, Sensei, it says acceptable intonation and pronunciation. So that was actually different a number of years ago. It had the word correct for the top mark criteria. So the wording has changed, hence why the pronunciation is not quite as
okay.
Yeah.
So it's now acceptable intonation and pronunciation.
So that's why yarakakteru, yeah, because it's not correct. The wording before had used the word correct.
Yeah, and participant might have become more diverse and it has become acceptable.
Yeah. I mean, my student has great pronunciation, so he doesn't have to worry about that. But some of the other students do.
One thing I'd like to mention about during the oral exam, it particularly says at Marker's guideline nowadays that to be prepared by interrupted by the examiner. So if you're just saying like long line about the family, for example, it happens quite often, they may jump in because it's remembered answers. But some students try to finish their line over the examiner's question. I don't think that's a good idea. So if the examiner jumps in and you sort of stop and listen to examiner's question, okay? So they jump in because they have enough information about that question. So concentrate on the next question and try to answer that. Okay, don't try to talk over their questions. Just be prepared. If that happens, it's not because your answer was bad or anything. It's just they have enough information. They only have 5 minutes to check what you are capable of. So if you're interrupted, don't worry. Okay, be ready for the next question.
Mieko-san, there's one student who wants to look at the listening slide. Would you be able to share that, please?
Right.
Thank you. And can everyone see the Japanese Beginners 2022 sample answer? I can't see it. Okay. I have shared it again. On the chat box, there is a document called Japanese Beginners 2022 Sample Answer Doc. Okay, this is the listening page.
So if you are not really strong at the listening section, this is the time you just do the past papers. And once you've done it, analyze your answers with the sample answer by Nessa, and also go through the transcript, and any vocabularies you are not sure of, check it and try to memorize. They could come up with any paper, questions. So it's always a good idea for you to do it first. If you can, try not to stop it. You do it from question 1 to question 10, because it's a good training, as you already feel like when it comes to question 9 and 10, your hands get really, really tired because you're writing so much with a limited time. But it's a good idea. Just keep doing it and check your answer. And make sure you think that you're getting the full marks. If you're not sure, ask your teacher and check with your teacher. It's a quite big portion of your marks of listening section. Hey, any other questions? Okay, so Taka-san, いいですかね?
Hi, any questions? How many times will be listening prompts be played?
Twice.
How many times would the listening prompts be played?
Twice?
Twice.
It states that at the beginning of the listening thing. So, yeah. And they give an example first, and then they come to the questions. So, yeah, they help you answer that one.
That's right.
Can we ask for more times? Does that mean for the listening or for the whole HSC? Can we ask for more time for the listening? If you didn't have the prompts will be played twice, only twice, and you cannot ask to play third time. But if you are writing, if your writing time is short, you can still use the time you should have been using to answer the reading or writing. But if you can do it within the time, that would be great, because reading and writing, they also require a lot of time to complete the task.
Yes, but as I mentioned at the beginning, if you're still writing the for example, question 10 answers, even the announcement says you may move to the section 2, ignore that, finish your writing. Because by the time I'll finish all the paper and come back and check it, you don't remember anything. So ignore that announcement, just keep writing and complete your answer in the listening section. And once you move to the next question, forget about the listening section, because you don't remember after you do all the other papers. So you complete it and forget about it and concentrate on the section 2. Okay, so maybe you need extra couple of minutes, but you can catch up with that when you do the reading section. My suggested time goes like 5 and 20 or something like that. You've got 16 minutes for writing section. So you can spend about 3 to 5 minutes for listening section if you like, and you have reading section enough time for you to do. So I think it's very hard for you to make writing section shorter, but the reading section, if you train yourself, maybe you can just give 3 to 5 minutes to the listening section extra.
Another question, do you know how special provisions are applied for the Japanese HSC exam? Special provisions.
You probably need to talk to your teacher, and the teacher need to ask Nessa directly.
Yeah, to help with that question, if you need to get extra time for special provisions, that has to go through the school. There has to be reports done by, so normally when you start in year 11, that is put through the school, through doctors' documents and things like that. And then as the student moves through to their HSC, that is accommodated in the exams and things as they go along. So yeah, that's something that needs to be done in year 11. Yeah, to have that then approved for HSC timing as extra time or breaks or things like that.
ありがとうございます。Thank you very much, 先生。
いえいえ、それがうちのあれでちょっと詳しいんで、ちょっと加えようかなと思って。はい、すみません。
Please talk to your teacher, school teacher, about the special provisions.
Okay, sorry, I just quickly showing that the time allocation. Section 2 with the reading section. So if you can do like that, 555-2020, you have 5 minutes extra in that part, so that you can use that 5 minutes extra by completing listening section. Even though the announcement says you may proceed the next section, no, you can just finish writing. In the past, when we did the face-to-face HSC workshops, all the students tried to finish it. They only needed like 2 minutes extra to complete the listening section. So you won't be that late. So finish your writing. And meanwhile, keep practicing with the past paper. It is really hard section. I mean, all the HSC is hard, but the listening section is really hard, even though you really understand everything what they're saying. How to write full mark answers are different from your understanding. So once you write the answers, make sure you always check with the sample answer where you are actually losing mark, or in order to get full mark, what sort of information, how you need to write it. You can learn it from the sample answers. And it will take time, but please do it now while you've got a bit of time during the holiday. So yeah, good luck. では、もう質問はないでしょうかね。Do you have any other questions? It's almost 11 o'clock. Okay, so anyone who is going to do the speaking sessions with us this afternoon and tomorrow, please come in at your allocated time. Please do not be late.
And please come in from the correct link. If you are in Mieko's practice session, you are using this link, the same link. If you are practicing with me, then there is a special link, different link. So please do not make mistakes. And please be punctual.
はい、皆さん今日はありがとうございました。皆さん頑張ってくださいね。では、スピーキングでまた会いましょう。はい。Okay, so this will complete our group session. But if you still want to talk to us directly, ask any questions, you can just unmute your microphone and ask us. Yeah, you're free to go. Thank you very much for attending.
We hope,
For
we wish
the speaking, is the second link that Taka Sensei emailed to me? Okay, okay.
yes, yeah.
And also teacher has to attend, right?
Yes, yes. With the department's safety guideline, we cannot be alone with the student, even online. So thank you very
Yes.
much for.
Okay, I will attend. Thank you. Thank you. Miyako-san, thank you.
はい、ありがとうございました。皆さん頑張ってね。